I want you to ask yourselves, what is that one dream in your life that you keep putting off? You keep telling yourself you're going to do it tomorrow, but what makes you think that's guaranteed when 150,000 people die every day? I recently contemplated this morbid thought when I went to visit my uncle in palliative care, which for those of you who don't know, essentially where elderly people with terminal illnesses go to die. Whilst I was there, I asked my uncle, what is the biggest regret in your life? He said, son, it wasn't the things I did. It was the things I didn't do. The risks I never took. The dreams I never pursued. His words touched me, because nothing in life can quite give me perspective like death can. So I left there that day, and I made a promise to myself. I promised to myself I would not suffer the same fate as my uncle before I achieved one of my lifelong goals. So, let me take you there. The day, Sunday the 23rd of July, 2023. I'm sitting in the back of the cinema watching Oppenheimer, stuffing my face with pigments and popcorn. As I sit there watching Oppenheimer completely change the world with his invention and achieve one of his own lifelong goals, I think, wow, what if I could really achieve one of those goals myself? What if I could change my world? So, any bright ideas that popped into my head? I thought, yeah, let's try and run a marathon. I thought, sounds easy, doesn't it? Well, in reality is far from the case. So, I did what any sane man would do in that position. I didn't talk myself out of it. I went home and I watched Rocky. And as I sat there, listening to the theme, going the distance, I thought, wow, what if I could really go the distance myself? So, lesson number one. We all need a spark from somewhere. We all need a spark from somewhere in our lives to help us get started. We need this spark in order to make the first walk to achieving any goal, which is procrastination. Because procrastination can paralyse you and prevent you from achieving your goals. So, the very next day, I had a tremendously large breakfast, did about an hour of stretching, and without telling anybody, I embarked on my quest. So, surprisingly, the first 15 kilometres, really smooth. I was running relatively well. In my head, I was motivated by the thought of, wow, how cool am I going to sound at school, telling everyone I can run a marathon without any training. However, as I approached the halfway point at 20 kilometres, 21 kilometres, they said, as I approached the halfway point, I started to receive some bad omens. So what are these bad omens? Well, first of all, it started to rain. Now this obviously isn't good because it's just annoying, miserable and uncomfortable, but essentially it makes the rucksack that I'm carrying, my shoes and my clothes a lot heavier. And additionally, of course, it makes the ground a lot more slippy, which means I've got to really try and coordinate focus with whereabouts I'm putting my foot. But trust me, after 20 kilometres, you do not want to think about that. So, I thought, how can I deal with this mid-run crisis? Let me pull out my secret weapon. Now, what is my secret weapon? Well, really, it was a secret weapon used by me against me. Own goal for the football fans out there. Essentially, in my bag, I had a bottle of highly caffeinated pre-workout. And for those of you who don't know, caffeine is obviously a known diuretic, and what that means is a really severe dehydration, which paired with the July heat was not very good. And essentially, given I'd taken enough caffeine, to kill a cow as well, this wasn't going to be very good for me. I hadn't realised the extent of my dehydration until I reached A&E later that day, where the doctors told me I had rhabdomyolysis, which was caused by a combination of my extreme dehydration and overexertion. So, what is rhabdo? Rhabdo is essentially when your muscles start to break down and they release CK or creatine kinase enzymes into your blood. Now these are normal. In healthy exercising men, they're about 10 to 180 units per litre. However, obviously in too high quantities, these can become toxic and poisonous in your blood. For example, at 5,000 units per litre, both your kidneys will fail, and then the toxins will reach your heart. So, any guesses about how high my CK levels were? 3,500. So we got very close. So lesson number 2 is something I'm going to call the paradox personality theory. And this is essentially my belief that our greatest weaknesses are actually the greatest cause of our stress. So, for example, I perceive, to me personally, my own anxiety I feel is one of my weaknesses. However, understand that this anxiety causes me to be very well prepared for situations that I find anxiety inducing. So, in the context of this run, because I conceived this dream, essentially sitting in the cinema watching Rocky, I had no anxiety about running a marathon. Therefore, this led me to be not very well prepared, if you couldn't tell already, nutritionally, physically, and mentally, for what's to come. So I think I want you guys to take away from that is next time you're conceiving your own dreams, or next time you want you to psychoanalyse yourselves and think about your own weaknesses, how they can actually be the source of your own strength. So let me take you back to the impending disaster. So I've got an aching thirst and I'm out of water. So, in response, I'm out of water and I decided it's finally time to bring out my headphones, which I kept in my rucksack. Now, unbeknownst to me, as I put my phone back in my rucksack, my run, which I'd been tracking on the running app Strava, had been unpaused and paused for many hours on end. So, I haven't explicitly told you if I'd actually run a marathon yet. So, who thinks that I managed to run the 42.2 kilometres? Oh, a lot of thinking through. Well, unsurprisingly, sorry to disappoint you, but I didn't manage to run the 42.2 kilometres. Turns out I actually ran 60 kilometres. Yeah, 60 kilometres, longer than the landmass of San Marino. 60 kilometres, longer than the coastline there are. 60 kilometres, the distance from here in UCL to my house in Ascot. Yes, an ultra marathon. Yes, it's on my CV. Yes, it's on my first statement. No, UCL still rejecting me. And that's why I'm here for revenge. No, I'm kidding. So how did I find this out? So, as I was sat there, lying in hospital, not being able to walk, I checked my Fit app, which I've also simultaneously been using. What do I see? I go on there, I see 60k. And like, anyone else think, what the actual is going on here? So, lesson number 3. You can do infinitely more than you believe if you just remove your own self-limitations. Now, let me explain this in the context of my run. Before my run, 42.2 kilometres, a marathon, was the furthest possible distance I could see myself going. This was an upper ceiling that I set on myself. Meaning, no matter how much energy my body would have had, I would not be able to run past that distance. However, when this self-limiting belief was removed by myself accidentally, it turns out I can do infinitely more than I thought was possible. What you have to understand is your mind is always in control. Your body will do as your mind commands. So, the thing I want you guys to take away from that is next time you're studying, or you're going to the gym, I want you to remove your own self-limiting beliefs. And this is usually time. I'll go to the gym for an hour. I'll go to the library for an hour. How would you expect to improve if you're capping your progress? How do you expect to improve if you're capping your own success? So, let me paint a picture. I'm in the worst pain of my life. I look like a zombie. I feel absolutely dead. My legs, ankles, knees, completely feel broken. I've got Osgood Schlatter's at the best of times, but I mean, during this, I cannot bend my knee at all. The skin on the back of my shoulders and traps has been torn off because of my rucksack that's been on there for 6.5 hours. I've got an aching thirst. Like I said, I'm extremely dehydrated. I'm covered in wet mud and dry sweat. Now, the thing I want you to think about is, where's my motivation? Where's my nice thought of, I'm watching Oppenheimer change the world? Where's my nice thought of watching Rocky go the distance in round 14? Where is my nice thought of the thing of impressing people at school by running a marathon? Where is it? There was no team, there was no people helping me, there was nobody supporting me. So why would I continue? all I had in store for myself was pain. This is why I continued. I made a promise, not only to myself, but to my uncle, that I would achieve one of my lifelong goals, at whatever the cost, barring death only. Now, you don't have to be extreme with this, but what I want you to take away is you need to build your own habits in discipline and not motivation. So when you're working towards your own goals, I want you to make sure that you build your habits in discipline. So for example, something I've been doing for the last few years is taking cold showers. Now I wouldn't start this in the summer, because then I knew I would only be taking them because there's a kind of reaction to the heat. So I started taking them in the winter. I take them all year round. It doesn't matter what day it is. The sun will come up and I'll go in the cold shower. And that's the things that you have to think about. Because remember this, or discipline will stay with you, motivation will betray you. So, as I conclude, after 6.5 hours being in the worst pain of my life, I finished in agony and pride. After a week of being in hospital, having IV fluids pumped through me, needles going in all sorts of places, I was out on the very next day. I lived happily ever after. I went to Zante. In the following years since I achieved that run, I also got a 5k PB of 19 minutes 27, which I'm really proud of, and another marathon PB a few months ago. So, and since I delivered a similar speech and presentation to my tutor last year, 2 of them within the space of the week had run half marathons, which they didn't believe was possible for themselves. So, hope I can be the spark like I was for you. So with my 4 lessons, acquiring a spark, analysing and utilising your own self-weaknesses, 3, removing your own self-limitations, and 4, staying disciplined, I hope you all can make the promise to yourself that you can go the distance as I want to do.